If you keep falling off, it's not because you're weak. It's because you're playing a game with rules that guarantee quitting. In this video, you'll learn how to build a simple system that keeps you training through real life, protects your gains, and gets you back fast after any miss. Watch while you work out and learn while you train. Part 1. The Science of Quitting and the All-or-Nothing Trap. If you have ever trained hard for a few days, missed one session, and then felt the whole plan collapse, you have met a mental trap, not a motivation problem. It is a thinking style that treats progress like a light switch, either perfect or worthless. The moment something is imperfect, your brain says it doesn't count, and quitting feels oddly reasonable. Catch the pattern in real time and label it. This is all-or-nothing thinking. Naming it matters because it creates distance. Distance turns "I failed" into "I slipped," and that keeps you in the game long enough to actually build results. All-or-nothing thinking shows up in fitness as extreme swings. You go from "I will do everything" to "I will do nothing." In training, it looks like pushing every set to the limit, adding more and more work, then crashing into soreness, fatigue, and skipped sessions. In nutrition, it looks like strict restriction, followed by uncontrolled eating because the day is ruined anyway. Your mind wants a clean story, but your body doesn't build muscle through dramatic streaks. It builds muscle through repeated, recoverable training exposures paired with adequate food, sleep, and time. To understand quitting, you need to understand how behavior repeats. Habits run on a loop with a cue, a routine, and a reward. Motivation can start you, but it is unreliable because it changes with sleep, stress, mood, and what happened earlier that day. Cues and environments are more stable. A cue is a trigger you already have, like finishing coffee, closing your laptop, or arriving home. The routine is the workout. The reward is what your brain feels right after, not what your physique looks like months later. When cues and rewards are consistent, the behavior becomes automatic. Pick one cue that already happens most days and attach training to it like a seatbelt. After coffee becomes put on training shoes. After work becomes start the warm-up. If you are advanced, make the cue opening your training log and doing the same warm-up sets on your main lift, so your brain recognizes the pattern instantly and stops negotiating. If you are new, make the cue something easy, like walking for 5 minutes or doing a short mobility warm-up before lifting. The win is starting on time, because starting is the highest leverage moment for consistency. Now, separate motivation from self-regulation. Motivation is the feeling that makes effort exciting. Self-regulation is the skill of following the plan even when the feeling is missing. Self-regulation is limited, so friction is the enemy. Every extra obstacle drains your decision battery. If your gym bag is buried, your program is confusing, or your workout time is whenever, you will negotiate with yourself every day, and negotiation is where plans die. Consistency improves fastest when the right action is the easy action, and the default choice is training. Remove one friction point today. Pack your gym bag the night before and put it by the door. If you train at home, place your mat or dumbbells where you will see them, not where you can ignore them. Put your workout app on your home screen and preload the session so you can start without searching. If you track training, write tomorrow's top sets the night before. When the moment arrives, you want execution, not decision-making. Beginners feel this as, "I don't have to think." Advanced athletes feel it as, "I protect consistency even on low-energy days." Another force that drives quitting is present bias. Your brain overvalues what happens now and undervalues what happens later. A workout costs effort and time today, while the reward you want, like more muscle, less body fat, or a stronger squat, arrives slowly. In the moment, skipping feels cheaper than training, even if your goals matter deeply. The fix is not guilt, and it is not hype. The fix is to build an immediate reward that your brain can feel right after training, so the habit stops feeling like a sacrifice with delayed payoff. Your immediate reward should be small, reliable, and tied to completion, not perfection. It can be a playlist you only use when you train, so the first song becomes a trigger and the music becomes a reward. It can be a shower ritual that marks work done and feels good instantly. It can be a simple, low-effort snack that fits your plan, like a protein shake you genuinely enjoy or yogurt with fruit. The point is not bribing yourself forever. The point is training your brain to associate showing up with something immediately positive while the bigger results are still building in the background. Expectation error is another quitting trigger. Many people expect progress to move in a straight line, strength up every week, scale weight down every week, visible changes every mirror check. Real physiology is wavy. Hard training can increase soreness and temporary water retention. Stress and short sleep can make your body hold more water and feel puffy even while you are doing everything right. Strength can stall while technique improves, or while fatigue is high from a tough training block. When you expect linear progress, normal noise feels like failure, and that mismatch is what makes people quit. Beat expectation error by tracking controllables, because controllable wins keep you engaged when outcomes are noisy. Aim for a weekly training target you can hit most weeks, like 3 to 5 sessions depending on your schedule and recovery. Build most working sets in rep ranges that drive muscle growth and technique, like 6 to 12 reps for compounds and 8 to 15 reps for accessories, usually stopping with 1 to 3 reps still in the tank on most sets. That keeps quality high and recovery realistic. Pair training with a protein anchor that supports muscle, like roughly 1.5 to a little over 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day, adjusted to your appetite and total calories. Now, let's talk identity, because identity stabilizes behavior when motivation fails. Identity-based habits answer, what kind of person am I? If you say, I'm trying to train, your brain hears temporary effort and looks for escape routes when life gets hard. If you say, I'm a person who trains, your brain looks for ways to protect that identity. Keep it low ego so it doesn't shatter after a bad session. A strong line is, I'm someone who keeps appointments with my health. That identity works whether you feel strong or not, whether the session is perfect or not, and whether life is smooth or chaotic. Missing once is not the danger. What happens next is shame turns a small lapse into a spiral. One missed workout or one off-plan meal triggers guilt, and guilt triggers the since I failed, I might as well keep failing reflex. That relapse pattern is common, and it destroys more progress than the original slip ever could. Treat lapses as data, not verdicts. Use a 2-step reset. Name it, then take the next best action you can start within 5 minutes. That action can be putting on shoes, starting a warm-up, preparing a simple meal, or texting yourself the new plan for tomorrow. Overreach is the final quitting engine, where physiology and psychology collide. If you jump from no training to training almost every day, take every set to the absolute limit, or combine heavy lifting with aggressive dieting immediately, your body will punish you with fatigue, hunger, and disrupted sleep. Training starts to feel like a threat, and your brain learns to avoid it. You do not need extremes at the start. You need the minimum effective dose you can repeat. For many people, that looks like 2 to 4 lifting sessions per week, each session built around a few challenging sets for major movement patterns, with enough rest days to recover. Here is the checkpoint that ties everything together. All or nothing thinking makes you chase perfect streaks, but streaks are fragile. Habits built on cues, reduced friction, and immediate rewards are durable. Present bias makes you overfeel the cost today, so you attach an instant reward to completion. Expectation error makes normal fluctuations feel like failure, so you track process metrics like sessions per week, protein consistency, steps, and sleep, rather than trusting only the scale or a single performance day. Identity stabilizes you. Shame destabilizes you, and overreach makes the whole journey feel punishing. The simplest rule that beats perfection is this: never miss twice. Part 2. Building a consistency system that survives real life. Consistency is not a personality trait. It is a system that keeps working when life is loud. Your best weeks are easy because energy is high and the schedule cooperates. The real skill is staying connected to training during the messy weeks, late work, bad sleep, travel, family stuff, and low mood. When you stay connected, training volume accumulates across months, technique sharpens, and your body gets repeated reasons to adapt. The goal is not perfect weeks. The goal is weeks that never collapse. Start by choosing a minimum viable workout, the smallest session that keeps the habit alive and protects your identity as someone who trains. Minimum viable is not doing nothing, and it is not a punishment session either. It is a continuity tool you can complete in 5 to 20 minutes, even on your worst day. When you do it, you prevent the story that you fell off, and that story is what turns one hard day into a lost month. The stimulus can be modest. The psychological effect is huge. You showed up. Make your minimum viable workout feel legitimate. If you lift, use one compound lift plus 2 accessories. A simple example is squat or leg press for 3 challenging sets of 6 to 10 reps, then a pull like a row for 2 sets of 8 to 12, then a small movement like curls or triceps for 2 sets of 10 to 15. Keep 1 or 2 reps in reserve so you finish strong and recover fast. If you train at home, use a 10-minute circuit with push-ups, split squats, and a band row, moving steadily and keeping form crisp so the session feels clean, not chaotic. Now protect the system with implementation intentions, which are if-then decisions you make before the obstacle shows up. Most people quit because they rely on, "I'll figure it out later," and later is when willpower is low. Pre-deciding removes negotiation. If work runs late, then you do the minimum viable workout at home. If the gym is packed, then you use the backup exercise you already chose. If you slept badly, then you train but keep every set a little farther from failure. This is not lowering standards. It is protecting the standard of consistency so progress keeps compounding. Your if-then plans must match real life, not imaginary life. "If I am busy" is meaningless because you are always busy. Make the trigger specific enough that your brain can recognize it automatically. If it is later than your usual training start time, then you switch to minimum viable workout. If you feel anxious and unmotivated, then you commit to the warm-up only and decide again after 5 minutes. If you miss a session, then you schedule the next one within the next 2 days because quick returns keep the habit alive and prevent the mental reset to zero. Next, lock training to anchors. Anchors are stable routines that already happen, like after coffee, after school, after work, or right after you get home. "I will find time" creates daily debate, and daily debate burns consistency. Anchors turn training into a sequence. Anchor happens, training follows. For beginners, 2 or 3 fixed training days per week works well because it builds routine fast. For advanced athletes, anchor the main lifts to fixed slots and allow accessories to flex without guilt. Treat the anchor like an appointment with your goals. When training is scheduled, you stop asking whether you will train and start asking how you will train today. That shift is powerful because physique results come from accumulation, not occasional hero sessions. If you are cutting, the schedule protects lean mass by keeping tension work consistent. If you are bulking, the schedule protects progression because you keep touching the same lifts. Even when the session must shrink, the appointment stays and the identity stays, which is what keeps results moving. Now reduce decision load with environment design. Your brain loves defaults, so make the default supportive. Create a launch pad, one spot where your shoes, bag, water bottle, and headphones live, ready to go. If you train in the morning, set out clothes the night before. If you train after work, keep the bag visible so it interrupts the couch routine. If you track training, keep your log on your home screen. The less you have to search, pack, and decide, the more likely you are to execute when energy is average, not just when it is high. Environment design applies to food too, and food is where many all-or-nothing cycles start. Macros are protein, carbs, and fats, and you do not need to obsess to be consistent. You need defaults that make good choices easy. Stock quick protein you actually like, such as eggs, yogurt, chicken, tofu, lean meat, or a protein shake. Keep simple carbs that fuel training, like rice, oats, potatoes, or bread, plus a few fruits and vegetables you will actually eat. When the default meal is easy, you avoid the nothing to eat, so I'll snack trap that derails macros. Now build progressive overload without psychological overload. Overload means gradually increasing training stress over time, not maxing out your life every session. Early restraint creates long-term adherence because joints, tendons, and recovery need time to catch up. Use a ramp phase for 2 to 4 weeks where you start around 70% of what you think you can handle. That can mean fewer hard sets, fewer weekly sessions, or leaving more reps in reserve. You should finish workouts feeling capable, not crushed, so tomorrow is still realistic. A practical ramp for beginners is full-body training 3 days per week, focusing on movement quality and repeatable volume. Keep most exercises in the 8 to 12 rep range. Use 2 or 3 working sets, and stop with 1 to 3 reps in reserve. A practical ramp for advanced lifters is keeping the same split but cutting total hard sets by about 1/3 and avoiding constant failure, especially on compounds. Save true limit sets for rare moments. The goal of the ramp is simple. You build the habit and the tissues that support it, which reduces injury risk. Recovery is the hidden lever that makes discipline feel possible. Poor sleep and high stress increase perceived effort, reduce impulse control, and make every decision heavier. Set a recovery baseline you can follow most weeks, a consistent bedtime window, a wind-down routine that reduces screens, and at least one planned rest or low day. Planned rest is not a missed day. It is part of the program. When you plan it, you remove guilt and protect training quality on the other days. Muscle grows when training and recovery match, not when you grind without sleep. Tracking should support behavior, not become a second sport that drains you. Use minimum tracking so you stay focused on the few actions that drive results. Track sessions completed per week, a daily protein target, and either steps or sleep as your third lever. For many people, a protein target around 1.5 to a little over 2 grams per kilogram of body weight per day supports muscle when training is consistent, and daily steps help with appetite and recovery. If tracking triggers perfectionism, tighten the process, not the rules, and keep it minimal. Accountability is not magic, it is behavioral engineering. Humans repeat behaviors that are reinforced, witnessed, and connected to identity. Make it simple and private. Send a done message to one friend after training, or keep a streak note where you mark the days you trained. If you are advanced, share top sets with a coach or training partner for feedback and structure. Accountability creates a commitment device. It becomes harder to disappear. That small pressure is useful when motivation is quiet. Finally, use a 2-lane plan so your weeks cannot flip into all or nothing. Green days are full sessions, your normal workout with planned volume. Yellow days are reduced sessions designed for low time or low energy. Decide your yellow rules in advance. A time cap around 30 minutes, 1 key lift for 3 working sets, 1 accessory for 2 sets, then you leave. That is still training, still skill practice, and still identity protection. Put the whole system into one sentence you live by. I don't aim for perfect weeks. I aim for 0 broken streaks. Part 3. Preventing relapse, handling setbacks, and making consistency automatic. Relapse is normal. It is not proof that you don't have discipline, and it is not evidence that your plan was fake. Behavior change is almost always a sequence of lapses and returns, because real life is messy and biology is not a machine. The problem is not that you miss sometimes. The problem is what you decide it means. If you treat a miss as failure, shame grows and you disappear. If you treat it as a lapse, you return fast and the story stays intact. Start using one metric that beats perfection: return speed, meaning how quickly you are back after a miss. Return speed is the difference between a tiny detour and a full reset. One missed workout can be a simple schedule issue, but 1 week of missed workouts usually becomes an identity issue. That is why your next action matters more than the mistake. If you miss a session, your goal is to train again within the next 1 or 2 days, even if that session is shorter. If you miss a nutrition target, your goal is to hit the next meal like a professional, not to punish yourself. Fast returns keep your nervous system practicing the routine, and they keep your body receiving the training signal that maintains muscle and performance. To improve return speed, you need a relapse prevention map. This is not motivation talk. It is planning like an athlete. You already know your high-risk situations: travel, exam weeks, overtime, sickness, family events, broken sleep, winter colds, stress spikes. If you do not plan for these, they will feel like surprises, and surprises trigger the old all-or-nothing cycle. Decide in advance what a yellow day looks like for each high-risk situation. When the risk arrives, you do not negotiate. You execute the reduced plan that keeps continuity and protects your joints and recovery. When life gets chaotic, the mind loves dramatic language like, "I'm off track." That phrase is gasoline for quitting because it implies you left the path completely. Replace it with flexible thinking that matches physiology. You are not off track. You are in a lower volume week. Maintenance is progress when the alternative is disappearing. Some is not nothing, because a short session still preserves movement skill, keeps joints happier, and maintains the habit loop. Today counts because consistency is built on repeated returns, not perfect streaks. These reframes are not cute slogans. They are cognitive tools that reduce shame and protect behavior. Plateaus are another major relapse trigger because they create reward delay. When the scale stalls or your strength stops moving, your brain feels like effort is not being paid back, and present bias kicks in hard. The fix is to widen what progress looks like so your brain keeps receiving feedback while adaptation is happening quietly. If your squat load is stable, you can still improve by adding a rep with the same load, tightening technique, reducing rest time slightly, or keeping the same performance with less fatigue. If body composition is stable, you can still win by hitting training sessions consistently, keeping protein steady, and improving sleep. Think of progress as a ladder rather than one single outcome. At the top, you have outcomes like visible muscle gain, a leaner waist, or a bigger total on your main lifts. Under that, you have performance wins like extra reps in the 8 to 12 range, smoother bar paths, better range of motion, and more consistent execution across sets. Under that, you have behavioral wins like showing up 3 to 5 times per week, staying within a reasonable calorie range, and hitting a protein target most days. When outcomes are slow, performance and behavior wins keep you engaged, and engagement is what allows outcomes to eventually move. Goal setting works best when you separate outcome goals from process goals and identity. Outcome goals are what you want, like adding muscle or cutting fat, but outcomes are not fully controllable week to week. Process goals are controllable actions, and controllable actions reduce dropout. An example outcome goal could be gaining lean mass while keeping waist growth minimal over the next training block. Process goals could be completing 4 training sessions per week and hitting a protein floor that supports muscle, roughly 1.5 to a little over 2 grams per kilogram of body weight per day, depending on appetite and calories. Identity ties it together. I'm someone who keeps appointments with my health. Once goals are set, protect them with deloads and planned breaks. Deloading is not quitting. It is intelligent fatigue management. Training hard builds fitness and fatigue at the same time. And if fatigue keeps rising, your motivation drops, your sleep gets worse, your joints ache, and consistency becomes emotionally expensive. A deload is a planned reduction in training stress that lets the body recover while keeping the habit. Many lifters benefit from a deload every 4 to 8 weeks or earlier if performance drops. Soreness lingers, sleep worsens, and enthusiasm disappears for more than a few days. A deload should feel like you are training, not like you vanished. Keep the same schedule so the routine stays anchored, but reduce either load, total sets, or how close you train to failure. If you normally do 3 hard sets of 6 to 10 on a compound lift, you might do 2 easier sets and stop with several reps in reserve. If you normally run higher volume accessories, you trim them down and focus on crisp technique. This keeps tendons and joints happy, preserves movement skill, and sets you up to push again without needing a dramatic mental restart. Travel and chaos need their own protocol because "I'll do my best" is too vague to protect results. When you travel, the goal is not peak performance. The goal is maintaining the training signal. A simple travel stack works because it reduces decisions. You do a short full-body session around 20 minutes using whatever you have, like push-ups, lunges, or split squats, rows with bands or a suitcase, and a hinge pattern like hip hinges or light deadlifts if available. You keep daily steps high enough to support appetite control and recovery, and you keep protein first at meals. Protein first matters during travel because it stabilizes hunger and protects muscle when training is lower. Hydration also matters because dehydration increases perceived fatigue and can make training feel awful. Aim for steady water intake across the day, especially if flights, heat, or lots of walking are involved. If the gym is poor or time is tight, you still do the minimum viable workout because the identity win is the point. When you return home, you do not make up missed sessions with punishment volume. You re-enter your normal plan smoothly and protect joints. Injury and illness are where many people destroy consistency by trying to be heroic. Heroic pushing feels tough, but it often extends recovery and teaches your brain that training equals pain and stress. The smarter approach is rehab smart consistency. Do what you can within recovery. If you are sick, the goal may be a short walk, mobility, and sleep. If you have a minor injury, you train around it, focusing on movements that do not aggravate symptoms. You keep the routine by showing up, logging, and doing something productive even if you are not lifting heavy. Use the keep the routine rule. Maintain the appointment even if the content changes. If you cannot squat, you might do upper body and pain-free leg work, like leg extensions or hamstring curls with moderate reps, staying far from failure. If you cannot train, you still do a light mobility session, a walk, and you plan the next training day on the calendar. This protects identity and return speed. When recovery is complete, you ramp back with restraint rather than jumping to your old loads immediately because tissues need a gradual return. Long-term adherence becomes easiest when training gets boring in the best possible way. Novelty is optional, but routine is powerful. Many people quit because they keep chasing a perfect new program, and the constant change prevents skill mastery and stable progression. A better approach is using a stable template for 6 to 12 weeks, letting you practice the same core lifts and build momentum. If you need variety, swap only 1 or 2 movements at a time, like changing a dumbbell press to an incline press, while keeping the same rep targets and weekly structure. When routine is stable, your brain stops wasting energy on decisions, and your body gets consistent signals to adapt. Your main lifts progress because you are repeating the skill, not relearning it weekly. Your hypertrophy work improves because you can compare sets and reps honestly across time. Your recovery improves because training stress is predictable. This is how consistency becomes automatic: fewer choices, fewer surprises, and fewer emotional reactions to normal fluctuations. The result is that discipline feels less like a fight and more like a default. Bring everything together into one mental tool, a one-page consistency playbook you can follow without thinking. It contains your minimum viable workout, your yellow day rules, and your if-then responses for common disruptions, plus your deload approach and travel protocol. When life hits, you do not guess. You open the playbook and execute. Systems beat motivation, flexible consistency beats perfectionism, and return speed beats shame. You are not trying to be flawless. You are building a body by repeatedly returning, and that is what real consistency looks like. Here's the real win from this script. Consistency isn't motivation, it's design. If you want results, stop aiming for perfect weeks and start aiming for 0 broken streaks. Pick a minimum viable workout you can always do in 5 to 20 minutes, because that protects your identity as someone who trains. Then decide your yellow day rules in advance, so late work, bad sleep, or low energy can't force an all or nothing decision. Keep your training anchored to a fixed cue, like after coffee or after work, and remove friction by setting up a launch pad with your shoes, bag, and water ready to go. When you miss, measure return speed, not guilt. Your only job is to train again within the next 1 or 2 days, even if it's shortened. If you're chasing muscle, keep most sets in the 6 to 12 rep range for compounds and 8 to 15 for accessories, and leave 1 to 3 reps in reserve most days so you recover and repeat. If your scale or strength stalls, don't panic and rewrite your whole plan. Track controllables like sessions per week, protein consistency, steps, and sleep. And every 4 to 8 weeks, deload on purpose so you don't burn out and disappear. Build your one-page playbook, your minimum viable workout, your yellow day plan, and your if-then responses for the predictable chaos. That's how you stop restarting and start compounding.